There are giants, yes. These things were destroying.
That talk about giant skeletons found in the U.S.?
No.
Oh, you don't know?
How many?
Oh my god, thousands!
Minutes ago, it was revealed that giants, long believed to be mere legends, have been discovered in America. These aren't just stories. They're rooted in old tales and the haunting shapes of rocks that tell of a mystifying, almost enchanted past. Picture colossal skeletons from ages past or imposing stone figures that stand guard like age-old sentinels. What if these tales hold truth? What if evidence of these giants lies buried beneath us? Let us set off on a quest to reveal the spine-tingling secrets that history has left behind. America's forgotten legends. The idea of petrified giants in the U.S. has fascinated people for hundreds of years. It has sparked the interest of explorers, storytellers, and everyday people. These stories come from a mix of folklore, strange natural rock formations, and theories that are not exactly scientific, but still they remain part of our culture. Whether it's ancient burial sites that supposedly contain large skeletons or rock formations that look like giant human figures, the mystery of petrified giants has become a key part of American history and legends. In the fading light, an archaeologist uncovered a mysterious tablet in the Nevada desert, triggering a faint tremor beneath her feet. But this is just the beginning of the story. Things get even stranger when we look closer at some of these myths. Native American stories have always been full of fascinating tales about the world around them, including stories of giants. The Iroquois, Osage, and many other tribes talked about encounters with enormous beings that once lived on the land. These stories made it feel like the land itself carried the presence of these massive creatures, as if their spirits had become part of the earth. The idea of giants wasn't just something from one tribe, it was something that many tribes shared, creating a deep connection between their stories and the landscape they lived on. These giants were seen as powerful beings, and their presence in these stories shaped how people saw the world around them. This has led to many people believing that these rocks were once actual giants turned to stone by some mysterious force. However, scientists explain these formations differently. They say these shapes are created by natural processes like erosion and the movement of the Earth's surface, which have been happening for millions of years. These processes slowly shape the land into forms that might look like a human face, an arm, or even a whole body. For example, in places like the American Southwest, where erosion happens quickly due to the dry climate, rocks have been shaped into forms that people could easily see as figures from myths or legends. Some mountains, because of how they have been worn down by wind and rain over time, seem to have features that look like faces or limbs. People who live in these areas, especially those who know the local stories about giants, might look at these formations and believe they are evidence of the giants their ancestors spoke of. This is where science introduces the idea of pareidolia, a term that means seeing patterns or familiar shapes in random objects. It's a common psychological phenomenon where our brains try to make sense of what we're seeing by connecting it to something familiar, even when it's just a random shape. But this wasn't the worst part for those who believed in giants. Science didn't just challenge the idea of giant rock formations, it also offered explanations for other strange discoveries. Throughout U.S. history, people have reported finding what they believed were the skeletons of giants. These claims often involve bones or fossils that seem much larger than any human remains, leading to excitement and speculation that they had found the remains of real-life giants. One of the most famous cases was the discovery of the Cardiff Giant, a massive 10-foot stone figure that was unearthed in 1869 in New York. At first, people were convinced that it was the petrified body of a real giant. It sparked a huge amount of interest, and people came from far and wide to see this supposed proof that giants had once roamed the earth. Let's see how a clever trick from the past fooled so many. Giants among us. However, it turned out to be a hoax. The Cardiff Giant wasn't the remains of a giant at all. It was actually a stone figure that had been carved and buried by a man named George Hull. Hull was hoping to make a fortune by playing on people's fascination with giants and their willingness to believe in them. He knew that if he could create something that looked convincing, people would pay to see it, and his plan worked, at least for a while. Once scientists and experts examined the Cardiff Giant, they were able to prove that it was a fake, and Hull's scheme was revealed. Still, this hoax shows just how strong the belief in giants was at the time. People were eager to believe in these creatures, and even when presented with evidence that the Cardiff Giant wasn't real, some still held on to their belief in giants. But the Cardiff Giant wasn't the only case of people claiming to have found giant skeletons. There were many other reports of similar discoveries across the U.S., especially in the 1800s and early 1900s. Some of these were hoaxes like the Cardiff Giant, while others were honest mistakes where people misunderstood what they were looking at. For instance, large animal bones or fossils might have been mistaken for human remains, leading to the conclusion that they had found a giant. In some cases, ancient burial sites were uncovered that contained human remains, but due to the way the skeletons had been buried or preserved, they appeared larger than normal. These misunderstandings fed into the existing belief in giants and made it seem like there was real evidence to support the stories that had been passed down through generations. Even though science has explained these strange formations and so-called giant discoveries, the legends of giants haven't gone away. For many people, these stories are an important part of their culture and heritage. They represent more than just physical beings. They symbolize power, mystery, and a deep connection to the land. The stories of giants remind people of the mysteries of the world and the things that can't always be explained. While modern science may offer rational explanations, there is something about these legends that continues to capture people's imaginations. But this wasn't the only thing that keeps these stories alive. Over time, the idea of giants has worked its way into popular culture, appearing in books, movies, and television shows. These modern versions of giant stories take inspiration from the old legends, but often add new twists, blending fact and fiction in a way that keeps the idea of giants fresh in people's minds. The fascination with giants seems to be something that spans cultures and time, making it clear that these stories still hold a special place in human imagination. In addition to well-known hoaxes like the Cardiff Giant, there have been even stranger, more puzzling finds over the years. One of the most mysterious involves oversized skeletons found in Native American burial mounds across the Midwest. In the 19th century, there were reports of skeletons that measured over 7 feet tall, uncovered in places like Ohio and Missouri. These discoveries weren't just rumors or tall tales. They were documented by respected archaeologists of the time. However, the real mystery began when the skeletons and artifacts seemed to disappear without a trace, leaving many to wonder if there was something more to the story, perhaps even a cover-up. Now we dive deeper into the old stories of giants and the clues left behind. The lost skeletons of America. During the 1800s, reports of these giant skeletons sparked curiosity and debate. The fact that these skeletons were reportedly found in areas rich with Native American history only added to the intrigue. Some believed that the skeletons were proof of a race of ancient giants that had once roamed the continent. Others thought it was just a case of mistaken identity or exaggeration. Regardless, the bones themselves were said to be impressive, with some reaching lengths that defied expectations for human skeletons of that time. But as more of these discoveries were made, something strange started happening. Many of the skeletons and artifacts vanished, sometimes even before they could be properly studied or displayed in museums. This led to suspicions that there was an intentional effort to hide these findings from the public. Was it a conspiracy to suppress evidence of a giant race? Or was it simply poor record-keeping and the natural loss of fragile artifacts over time? No one knows for sure, but the lack of physical evidence today only deepens the mystery. And yet, this wasn't even the most bizarre aspect of these discoveries. Beyond the reports of oversized skeletons, there have been other unusual and unexplained finds that have captivated people's imaginations. One particularly strange example comes from Jackson, Michigan, in 1919. A 12-foot giant was reportedly unearthed, its body completely petrified, turned to stone, down to the smallest details, including hair and teeth. The idea that a giant could be found in such a condition was extraordinary, and it attracted a lot of attention at the time. People flocked to see this marvel, eager to understand how such a thing could be possible. There have been other discoveries of petrified bodies or body parts, such as hands, arms, and even entire bodies, found in places you wouldn't normally expect, like riverbanks or deep inside coal mines. These petrified remains have often been linked to stories of giants, as their unusual size and condition made them seem otherworldly. But as intriguing as these stories are, there is likely a scientific explanation for most of them. The process of petrification, while rare, can happen under the right conditions. It occurs when minerals gradually replace the organic material in a body that is buried in specific environments. Over time, the body essentially becomes fossilized, turning into what appears to be a stone version of itself. Although this process is incredibly rare, especially for human remains, it is not impossible. The right combination of minerals, moisture, and time can lead to the preservation of a body in this way. However, these scientific explanations don't necessarily satisfy everyone, especially when there are so many unanswered questions surrounding the finds themselves. The strange discoveries of oversized skeletons and petrified bodies are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to unexplained archaeological finds. Over the years, there have been reports of all kinds of odd artifacts and remains, from massive stone tools to ancient carvings that don't fit with the known history of the region. In some cases, these artifacts seem to suggest that there were advanced civilizations long before the ones we know about, perhaps even civilizations that included giants. Next, we explore why so many giant tales and artifacts still puzzle us today. Exposing hidden truths. Of course, many of these theories are met with skepticism. Scientists often point out that it's easy for people to get caught up in the excitement of a new discovery and make assumptions that aren't based on solid evidence. In many cases, what was thought to be an ancient giant skeleton or a petrified body turns out to be something much more ordinary, like a large animal bone or a geological formation that resembles a human shape. But despite these more reasonable explanations, the fascination with these finds continues. In fact, the lack of definitive answers only seems to fuel further speculation. Why did so many of these giant skeletons and artifacts disappear? Was it just bad luck, or was there a deliberate effort to hide something? Could it be that these finds were simply misinterpreted, or was there something more to them? And what about the stories of petrified giants? Were they just the result of overactive imaginations? Or did they point to something we don't fully understand yet? While we may never know the answers to these questions, the stories themselves are a reminder of how little we still know about our own history. There are countless mysteries left to uncover, and each new discovery, whether it's a giant skeleton, a petrified body, or an ancient artifact, has the potential to change our understanding of the past. But this isn't the most surprising part. What's truly remarkable is how these stories, despite being hundreds of years old in some cases, continue to captivate people today. Whether it's the allure of a giant race that once walked the earth or the possibility of lost civilizations, the fascination with these mysteries remains strong. Even in an age where science and technology have advanced so much, there is still something thrilling about the unknown. It's this sense of wonder and curiosity that keeps people searching for answers, no matter how strange or unbelievable the stories might seem. So, while it's easy to dismiss these reports as mere folklore or exaggeration, there is always the chance that there's a kernel of truth buried somewhere in the mystery. After all, history is full of surprises, and sometimes the most extraordinary discoveries come from the most unexpected places. And who knows, maybe one day we'll finally uncover the truth behind these strange giant skeletons and petrified bodies. But until then, the mystery remains. And it's that mystery that keeps the story alive. The Smithsonian Institution is one of the most famous museums and research centers in the world. It contains millions of historical artifacts, documents, and other important items. However, over the years, stories about giant skeletons have often included mentions of the Smithsonian. According to these stories, when oversized skeletons were discovered, they were sent to the Smithsonian, where they would supposedly disappear and never be seen again. This has led to a number of conspiracy theories suggesting that the Smithsonian is hiding evidence of a race of ancient giants that once lived on Earth. These theories suggest that the discovery of these giants could challenge what we know about history and human evolution. Some people believe that the Smithsonian, along with other organizations, has intentionally hidden this information to maintain the current understanding of human history. The idea that a respected institution could be part of such a cover-up has made these stories even more intriguing for some. Let's look at what museums say about these giant mysteries and why some stories persist. The Smithsonian's secret? However, there is no concrete evidence to support the claim that the Smithsonian has ever engaged in a cover-up related to giant skeletons. In fact, the Smithsonian has publicly denied these claims, saying that it has no record of hiding or losing any such discoveries. Instead, they explain that if these skeletons ever existed, they may have been lost due to poor record-keeping or their fragile nature. Skeletons, especially ancient ones, can easily break down or deteriorate over time, making it hard to preserve them. It's also important to remember that in the 19th and early 20th centuries, when many of these discoveries were said to have been made, archaeological methods were not as advanced as they are today. Records of finds were not always kept well, and artifacts could be lost or damaged easily. This might explain why some skeletons were never seen again after being sent to the Smithsonian. Still, despite these more reasonable explanations, the involvement of such a prestigious institution continues to make the story of giant skeletons more mysterious and exciting for some people. The fascination with petrified giants, giants whose bodies are thought to have turned into stone, remains popular today. This idea is often explored by people who are interested in fringe archaeology or cryptozoology. Fringe archaeology looks at theories about ancient history that fall outside of what is accepted by mainstream science. Cryptozoology, on the other hand, studies creatures like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, creatures that may or may not exist. Many people who support these fields believe that traditional science is too quick to dismiss their ideas. Supporters of the idea of ancient giants argue that there have been many historical accounts of giant skeletons found in different parts of the world. Some also believe that certain rock formations, which resemble the shapes of human bodies, are the remains of these ancient giants that have turned to stone over time. They think that these giants may have played an important role in building large ancient structures, like the pyramids in Egypt or Stonehenge in England. According to these supporters, the giants' great size and strength would have made it easier for them to move the heavy stones used to build these monuments. The rock formations that some people believe are petrified giants can also be explained by natural geological processes. Over time, wind and water can shape rocks into forms that look like people or animals. This is a much more likely explanation for these formations. Scientists also believe that the stories of giants may have served other purposes. In many cultures, giants appear in myths and legends as powerful beings. In some cases, these giants represent natural forces, like mountains or the ocean. In other cases, giants may symbolize the human desire to understand and connect with something larger than ourselves. The legends of giants, rather than being literal accounts of real creatures, might be metaphors for spiritual or natural phenomena that early humans found mysterious or awe-inspiring. Grand Canyon's hidden chambers. The Grand Canyon National Park, established in 1919, attracts millions of visitors each year who come to marvel at its awe-inspiring beauty. However, it's estimated that only about 10% of the canyon is accessible to the public. The remaining 90% is off-limits, ostensibly for conservation purposes and visitor safety. But this restricted access has fueled speculation about what might lie hidden in these forbidden zones. In recent years, advanced technologies have allowed researchers to peer into previously unexplored areas of the canyon. LiDAR, aka light detection and ranging scanning, for instance, has revealed hidden structures and anomalies that warrant further investigation. These findings have reignited interest in long-standing rumors of secret caves and lost civilizations within the Grand Canyon's depths. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers is their potential connection to ancient Native American cultures. The region has been home to indigenous peoples for thousands of years, and their oral traditions speak of mysterious underground cities and sacred spaces within the canyon. The Hopi tribe, in particular, has legends of an underground civilization in secret chambers that hold great spiritual significance. Archaeologists have documented over 4,800 archaeological sites within the Grand Canyon National Park, ranging from ancient dwellings to rock art panels. Many of these sites date back thousands of years, with some artifacts suggesting human presence in the area as far back as 12,000 years ago. However, the vast majority of the canyon remains unexplored from an archaeological perspective, leaving open the possibility of even more significant discoveries. One of the most tantalizing mysteries surrounding the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers is their potential connection to ancient Egyptian civilization. This seemingly far-fetched idea gained traction in the early 20th century when an article in the Arizona Gazette reported the discovery of Egyptian-style artifacts and hieroglyphs deep within a cave system in the canyon. While this claim has been largely dismissed by mainstream archaeologists, it continues to captivate the imagination of alternative historians and conspiracy theorists. The notion of Egyptian influence in pre-Columbian America is not entirely without precedent. There are curious similarities between some ancient Egyptian and Mesoamerican architectural styles, such as the use of pyramids. Additionally, some researchers have pointed out linguistic and cultural parallels between ancient Egyptian and certain Native American traditions. While these connections are tenuous and hotly debated, they add an extra layer of intrigue to the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers. In recent years, geologists and speleologists have made significant discoveries in the Grand Canyon's cave systems. The Lechuguilla Cave, located in New Mexico's Carlsbad Caverns National Park, provides a tantalizing glimpse of what might exist beneath the Grand Canyon. Discovered in 1986, Lechuguilla has revealed an underground world of stunning beauty and scientific importance, with unique mineral formations and extremophile microorganisms that thrive in its sulfuric acid-rich environment. Similar cave systems could exist within the Grand Canyon, potentially harboring not only geological wonders, but also preserved artifacts and evidence of ancient human activity. The dry, stable environment of deep caves can act as a time capsule, preserving organic materials and delicate artifacts for thousands of years. The potential for groundbreaking discoveries in the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers extends beyond archaeology and geology. Biologists speculate that these unexplored caverns could house unique ecosystems and previously unknown species. The isolation and extreme conditions of deep cave systems often lead to the evolution of highly specialized organisms, as seen in other cave systems around the world. Moreover, the study of these hidden chambers could provide valuable insights into climate change and environmental history. Cave formations such as stalactites and stalagmites act as natural archives, recording information about past climate conditions and their chemical composition and growth patterns. By analyzing these formations, scientists can reconstruct past environmental conditions and better understand long-term climate trends. The exploration of the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers is not without controversy. Native American tribes, who consider much of the canyon sacred, have expressed concerns about disturbance of cultural sites and the potential desecration of ancestral lands. Balancing the pursuit of scientific knowledge with respect for indigenous rights and beliefs remains a significant challenge for researchers and park authorities. Additionally, the rugged and often dangerous terrain of the Grand Canyon poses significant logistical challenges for exploration. Many of the rumored hidden chambers are located in remote, nearly inaccessible areas of the canyon. Exploring these regions requires specialized equipment, extensive training, and careful planning to ensure the safety of researchers and the preservation of the natural environment. Despite these challenges, the allure of the Grand Canyon's hidden chambers continues to inspire scientists, explorers, and dreamers alike. As technology advances and our understanding of the canyon's complex geology improves, we may be on the cusp of remarkable discoveries that could shed new light on ancient human history in the natural world. The Grand Canyon's hidden chambers represent a final frontier of sorts, a vast, largely unexplored realm that holds the potential for groundbreaking discoveries. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of this natural wonder, one question looms large. What other secrets might be waiting to be uncovered in the depths of the Grand Canyon? But perhaps an even more intriguing question arises. What if some of these secrets have already been discovered, only to be kept hidden from the public? This brings us to one of the most controversial episodes in the Grand Canyon's history, the alleged expedition of G.E. Kincaid and Professor S.A. Jordan in the early 20th century. What did these men claim to have found, and why has their story been shrouded in mystery for over a century? The Kincaid-Jordan expedition. In the annals of Grand Canyon exploration, few stories have captivated the imagination quite like the alleged discoveries of G.E. Kincaid and Professor S.A. Jordan in 1909. This expedition, shrouded in mystery and controversy, has become a cornerstone of Grand Canyon lore, challenging our understanding of ancient American history and raising questions about potential cover-ups of groundbreaking archaeological finds. On April 5, 1909, the Phoenix Gazette published a front-page article that would spark over a century of debate and speculation. The article detailed the remarkable findings of Kincaid, described as an archaeologist working with the Smithsonian Institute, who claimed to have discovered a vast underground citadel within the Grand Canyon. According to the report, this ancient complex contained artifacts suggesting an Egyptian or Southeast Asian origin, potentially rewriting the narrative of pre-Columbian contact in North America. The expedition reportedly began when Kincaid, while traveling alone in a wooden boat down the Colorado River, noticed curious stains in the sedimentary rock face. Upon closer inspection, he discovered the entrance to a cave, hidden behind a ledge, approximately 1,486 feet above the riverbed. This location was said to be roughly 42 miles upstream from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon, in the heart of the Grand Canyon's most restricted areas. Kincaid's description of the cave system was remarkably detailed. He spoke of a main passageway about 12 feet wide, stretching for several hundred feet before opening into a magnificent chamber about 100 feet by 150 feet. This grand hall reportedly housed numerous side passages, leading to hundreds of rooms hewn from solid rock. Perhaps most intriguingly, Kincaid described hieroglyphic inscriptions and artifacts that bore a striking resemblance to ancient Egyptian culture. Among the most sensational claims was the discovery of mummies. Kincaid reported finding several well-preserved bodies wrapped in a dark fabric. These mummies were said to be over 9 feet tall, a detail that has fueled countless theories about giant humanoids in ancient America. Additionally, the explorers allegedly uncovered copper weapons, tools adorned with hieroglyphs, and even a statue resembling Buddha, suggesting a complex tapestry of cultural influences. The involvement of Professor S.A. Jordan adds another layer of credibility to the story. Described as a colleague of Kincaid from the Smithsonian, Jordan was said to have joined the expedition to lend his expertise in archaeology. Together, they supposedly documented their findings meticulously, taking photographs and collecting artifacts to be sent back to the Smithsonian for further study. However, the veracity of this expedition has been a subject of intense debate. The Smithsonian Institute has consistently denied any knowledge of Kincaid, Jordan, or their purported discoveries. No records of their employment or any expeditions sanctioned by the Smithsonian in the Grand Canyon during that period have ever been produced. This lack of official acknowledgement has led many to question whether the entire story was an elaborate hoax or if there's more to the tale than meets the eye. Adding to the intrigue is the curious naming of landmarks in the Grand Canyon. Many features bear names with Egyptian and Hindu connotations, such as the Tower of Set, Tower of Ra, Horus Temple, Osiris Temple, and Shiva Temple. These names were assigned by Clarence Dutton, a geologist who surveyed the area in the late 19th century, long before the Kincaid-Jordan expedition. While Dutton's naming choices were likely motivated by the grandeur of the landscape, rather than any archaeological findings, they have nonetheless fueled speculation about ancient connections between the Grand Canyon and distant civilizations. The timing of the Kincaid-Jordan expedition is also significant. It occurred just as the Grand Canyon was gaining national attention, with efforts underway to designate it as a national park. Some theorists suggest that if the discoveries were genuine, they might have been suppressed to prevent disruption to these conservation efforts or to protect potential archaeological sites from looters. Despite the lack of official corroboration, the Kincaid-Jordan story has persisted, evolving into a cornerstone of alternative archaeology. Numerous books, documentaries, and websites have explored the possibility of hidden civilizations in the Grand Canyon, often citing this expedition as evidence. Some researchers have attempted to locate the cave system described by Kincaid, though access restrictions in the area have hampered these efforts. It's worth noting that while the specific claims of the Kincaid-Jordan expedition remain unverified, the Grand Canyon does indeed house numerous archaeological sites of immense significance. The region has been home to Native American tribes for thousands of years, and archaeological evidence suggests human habitation dating back at least 12,000 years. Hundreds of ancient dwellings, granaries, and artifact scatters have been documented within the canyon, testifying to its rich cultural history. Moreover, recent scientific expeditions have uncovered fascinating geological and paleontological finds in the Grand Canyon. In 2019, researchers discovered fossil footprints that may be up to 313 million years old, potentially the oldest known vertebrate tracks in the Grand Canyon. The Kincaid-Jordan expedition story, whether fact or fiction, has undeniably left a mark on Grand Canyon lore. It continues to inspire researchers, adventurers, and conspiracy theorists alike, driving ongoing interest in the canyon's hidden recesses and potential archaeological treasures. Our next question is, what other connections might exist between the cultures of the American Southwest and those of distant lands? And how might these connections, if they exist, reshape our understanding of pre-Columbian contact and cultural exchange, ancient civilizations and Egyptian connections? The Grand Canyon, with its awe-inspiring vistas and rich geological history, has long been a subject of fascination for archaeologists and historians. But beyond its natural wonders, the canyon has become the center of a compelling debate. Could there be connections between the ancient civilizations of the American Southwest and those of Egypt and other distant lands? This question, while controversial, has sparked intense research and speculation, leading to some intriguing discoveries and theories. The indigenous peoples of the American Southwest, including the ancestral Puebloans, formerly known as Anasazi, Hohokam, and Mogollon cultures, developed complex societies in the region long before European contact. These civilizations left behind impressive architectural and cultural legacies, including the famous cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde and the extensive canal systems of the Phoenix Basin. Recent archaeological findings have shed new light on the sophistication of these ancient southwestern cultures. In 2017, researchers using LiDAR technology discovered an extensive network of ancient roads connecting Chaco Canyon to outlying communities, spanning over 180 miles. This discovery highlights the advanced engineering and organizational capabilities of the ancestral Puebloans, rivaling those of ancient civilizations in other parts of the world. The question of Egyptian influence in the Americas has been a point of controversy since the early 20th century. While mainstream archaeology generally dismisses direct connections, some researchers point to intriguing parallels. For instance, both ancient Egyptians and some Native American cultures built step pyramids, practiced mummification, and used similar solar symbolism in their art and architecture. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence cited by proponents of Egyptian-American connections is the presence of cocaine and nicotine traces in Egyptian mummies. A study published in the Journal of the German Society for Mummy Studies in 1992 found these substances, which are native to the Americas, in several Egyptian mummies. While controversial, this finding has led some researchers to speculate about pre-Columbian transoceanic contact. Linguistic studies have also contributed to the debate. In 2013, Dr. Mark Parak, a retired physics professor, published a paper analyzing potential connections between the Zuni language, spoken by a Native American tribe in New Mexico, and Indo-European languages. While not conclusively proving a link, his work suggests the possibility of ancient linguistic exchanges between the Old and New Worlds. The Grand Canyon itself contains several geological features named after Egyptian deities, such as the Temple of Osiris and the Tower of Set. While these names were assigned in the late 19th century by explorer John Wesley Powell and have no direct connection to ancient Egypt, they have fueled speculation about hidden meanings and ancient knowledge. In recent years, advanced imaging technologies have revealed new insights into the Grand Canyon's archaeological treasures. A 2021 study using drone-based photogrammetry and machine learning algorithms identified previously unknown archaeological sites within the canyon, including potential ancient habitations and agricultural terraces. While these findings don't directly support Egyptian connections, they demonstrate the canyon's rich and largely unexplored archaeological potential. The idea of ancient cultural diffusion isn't limited to Egyptian-American connections. Some researchers have pointed out similarities between Southwestern Native American art and that of ancient China. The distinctive spiral motifs found in Hohokam pottery, for example, bear a striking resemblance to certain Chinese designs. While these parallels could be coincidental, they raise intriguing questions about possible ancient trade networks or shared cultural origins. It's crucial to note that mainstream archaeology remains skeptical of direct ancient connections between Egypt and the Americas. The prevailing view is that similarities in architecture, art, and cultural practices can often be attributed to independent development rather than direct contact. However, this doesn't diminish the fascinating complexity of ancient southwestern cultures or the potential for future discoveries that could reshape our understanding of prehistoric global interactions. Recent genetic studies have provided new insights into the origins and migrations of Native American populations. A 2018 study published in Science analyzed the DNA of 229 ancient individuals from across the Americas, revealing a complex history of population movements and admixture. While this research doesn't support theories of ancient Egyptian presence in the Americas, it does highlight the dynamic nature of prehistoric human migrations and interactions. The debate surrounding ancient civilizations and potential Egyptian connections in the Grand Canyon reflects a broader discussion in archaeology about the nature of cultural development and diffusion. As new technologies and methodologies emerge, researchers continue to uncover evidence that challenges our understanding of ancient societies and their interactions. For instance, recent studies have revealed evidence of long-distance trade networks in prehistoric North America. A 2021 paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences documented the presence of copper from the Great Lakes region in artifacts found at Cahokia, a major pre-Columbian city near present-day St. Louis. This finding demonstrates the existence of sophisticated trade networks spanning thousands of miles, suggesting that ancient American cultures were far more interconnected than previously thought. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the Grand Canyon and its place in the tapestry of ancient civilizations, we're left with another mystery. What undiscovered evidence might still lie hidden within the canyon's vast and largely unexplored terrain? And how might future discoveries in this natural wonder reshape our understanding of ancient cultural connections and human history? This leads us to consider the various theories and controversies that have emerged from these investigations. What explanations have been proposed to account for the alleged evidence of ancient Egyptian presence in the Grand Canyon? And how have these ideas been received by the scientific community and the public at large? Controversies and conspiracy theories. The Grand Canyon, with its breathtaking beauty and ancient mysteries, has become a breeding ground for numerous controversies and conspiracy theories over the years. These range from alleged cover-ups of archaeological discoveries to claims of extraterrestrial involvement in the canyon's formation. While many of these theories lack scientific backing, they have nonetheless captured the public imagination and sparked heated debates among researchers, historians, and enthusiasts alike. One of the most persistent controversies surrounding the Grand Canyon revolves around the alleged suppression of archaeological evidence by the Smithsonian Institution. This theory gained traction following the 1909 Arizona Gazette article about the Kincaid-Jordan expedition. Proponents argue that the Smithsonian has deliberately hidden or destroyed artifacts that could challenge the established narrative of North American prehistory. While there's no concrete evidence to support these claims, the Smithsonian's handling of certain archaeological findings has raised eyebrows. For instance, in the late 19th century, numerous reports emerged of giant humanoid skeletons being unearthed across America. Many of these were allegedly sent to the Smithsonian, only to disappear from public record. In 2014, an American news article claimed that the Supreme Court had ordered the Smithsonian to release classified papers about the destruction of such evidence. However, this story was later debunked as a hoax, further muddying the waters of truth and fiction. Another controversial aspect of Grand Canyon archaeology involves the potential presence of Egyptian artifacts. In 2016, an article circulated online claiming that the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities had discovered ancient Egyptian coins and jewelry in the Grand Canyon. This story, while sensational, was quickly disproven. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities issued a statement categorically denying the claim, emphasizing that no Egyptian expedition had ever been sent to the Grand Canyon. Despite the lack of credible evidence for Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon, the idea persists in alternative archaeology circles. Some researchers point to the canyon's Egyptian-themed landmark names as potential clues. However, it's important to note that these names were assigned by 19th century explorers, inspired by the grandeur of the landscape, not by any archaeological findings. One of the more intriguing controversies surrounds the dating of the Grand Canyon itself. While the conventional geological view places the canyon's formation between 70 million and 5 million years ago, some researchers propose a much younger age. In 2008, a study published in the journal Science suggested that parts of the western Grand Canyon could be as young as 17 million years old. This research, based on thermochronology data, challenged long-held assumptions about the canyon's formation and sparked debate within the geological community. The Grand Canyon has also been the subject of various fringe theories involving extraterrestrial influence. Some proponents argue that the canyon's precise geometric formations and alleged electromagnetic anomalies suggest artificial creation or modification by advanced alien civilizations. While these claims lack scientific merit, they have fueled numerous books, documentaries, and online discussions. One real and ongoing controversy involves the management of the Grand Canyon's resources and sacred sites. The Havasupai tribe, whose ancestral lands include parts of the Grand Canyon, has been embroiled in legal battles over land rights and water usage for decades. In 2019, the tribe won a significant victory when a federal appeals court upheld a 20-year ban on new uranium mining claims around the Grand Canyon. This decision highlighted the ongoing tension between conservation efforts, indigenous rights, and economic interests in the region. The discovery of uranium in the Grand Canyon area in the early 20th century led to extensive mining operations, which have since become a source of environmental concern. In 2012, then Secretary of the Interior Ken Salazar implemented a 20-year moratorium on new uranium claims in the region. However, controversies persist over the potential health impacts of past mining activities and the future of resource extraction in the area. Climate change and its effects on the Grand Canyon ecosystem represent another area of scientific and public concern. A 2018 study published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters found that warming temperatures are altering the canyon's vegetation patterns, potentially threatening endemic species. This research has fueled debates about conservation strategies and the long-term management of the park in the face of global climate change. One of the most persistent mysteries surrounding the Grand Canyon involves the numerous caves and tunnel systems that honeycomb its walls. While many of these have been explored and documented by speleologists, others remain inaccessible or unexplored. In 2013, a team of researchers using electrical resistivity measurements discovered a massive cave system beneath the Kaibab Plateau, north of the Grand Canyon. This finding highlights the potential for future discoveries and the complex nature of the canyon's geological structure. The Grand Canyon has also been the focus of numerous alternative history theories. Some researchers propose that the canyon was once home to advanced civilizations predating known Native American cultures. While these claims lack archaeological evidence, they have inspired countless books and documentaries exploring the possibility of lost civilizations in North America. One real archaeological controversy involves the dating of human presence in the Grand Canyon region. In 2021, a study published in Science Advances presented evidence of human footprints in New Mexico dating back 23,000 years. This finding challenges the long-held belief that humans first arrived in North America around 13,000 years ago. While this discovery was not made in the Grand Canyon itself, it has implications for understanding the potential antiquity of human habitation in the region. The management of tourism and its impact on the Grand Canyon's ecosystem is another area of ongoing controversy. With millions of visitors each year, the National Park Service faces the challenge of balancing public access with conservation efforts. In recent years, debates have arisen over proposals to build developments near the canyon rim, including the Grand Canyon Escalade project, which would have included a gondola ride to the canyon floor. This project was ultimately rejected in 2017 after fierce opposition from environmental groups in the Navajo Nation. As we continue to explore and study the Grand Canyon, new controversies and theories are likely to emerge. The canyon's vast size, complex geology, and rich cultural history ensure that it will remain a subject of fascination and debate for generations to come. While many of the more sensational claims about the canyon lack scientific support, the ongoing research and discoveries in archaeology, geology, and ecology continue to reveal new insights into this natural wonder. Now, we want to hear your thoughts on the matter. How do we balance scientific inquiry, cultural sensitivity, and public fascination when exploring and interpreting the Grand Canyon's mysteries? And what responsibility do researchers, media outlets, and the public have in distinguishing between credible scientific findings and speculative theories? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.